The length of each half will also be specified. The following procedure will apply. There is an interval of 4 minutes at the end of full time. Extra time consists of 2 halves of equal length, not exceeding 7 minutes each, with a half-time interval of 1 minute. Teams change ends at half-time. The first centre pass in each half is taken by the team entitled to the next centre pass. In the event of a tie remaining at the end of extra time, a visual signal is placed at the official bench to indicate that play will continue until one team leads by 2 goals. During a match, players must wear a registered playing uniform and suitable sports footwear. Playing position initials 150mm high, which must be clearly visible and worn above the waist, front and back. The playing positions and initials are goal shooter, GS, goal attack, GA, wing attack, WA, centre, C, wing defence, WD, goal defence, GD, and goalkeeper, GK. All players have specified areas of the court where they are allowed to play. Players are also not allowed to wear anything that could endanger themselves or other players, specifically jewellery, which cannot be worn other than a wedding ring, which must be covered up with tape. A medical alert bracelet may be worn provided it is covered with tape. Fingernails must be short and smooth. Hair must be suitably tied back. The role of a captain. Before the match starts, the 2 captains toss for choice of goal end or first centre pass and notify the scorers and the umpires of the result. The captain has the right to approach the umpires during an interval for clarification of any rule. Any players who the clarification is relevant may accompany the captain. The umpires may request to the captain to speak to any on-court players whose behaviour is causing concern. In the event that the captain is not on court, an on-court captain will be advised to the umpires. The match officials are 2 umpires and a reserve umpire. The match officials wear clothing that is distinct from a team's playing uniforms and suitable sports footwear. Before play starts, they check the players off the court to ensure that they meet the requirements of the correct equipment and clothing. After the captains have notified the umpires of the result of the toss for goal end or first centre pass, the umpires toss for the goal end. The umpire winning the toss controls the sideline nearer the official bench and the goal end to the right when facing the court. Each umpire controls the same half of the court throughout the match. An umpire's whistle starts and ends each quarter, restarts play after a goal has been scored, indicates where an infringement is penalised, may be used to indicate when the ball is out of the court if clarification is needed, signals when the timekeepers are to hold for a stoppage and when to restart play. The umpires work cooperatively and may appeal to each other for decisions. An umpire may be ready for such an appeal at all times. The reserve umpire replaces an umpire who becomes ill or injured during a match. They may assist the umpires with any procedures prior to the match or during intervals. They are seated at the umpire's bench during a match. They supervise suspended players during the suspension period. During a match, the umpires may penalise an infringement and award a sanction to the non-offending team, as follows: a free pass awarded for minor infringements, or a penalty pass awarded for major infringements. Sanctions are awarded to a team and may be taken by any player allowed in the area. The player taking the sanction must take up position indicated by the umpire as follows: for a free pass, the position is where the infringement occurred. For a penalty pass, the position is where the infringer was standing, unless this disadvantages the non-infringing team. A player taking a free pass may not shoot for goal. The infringer must stand out of play. This means the infringer must move quickly to the position indicated, stand beside but away from the player taking the penalty pass, so they can't impede the player. They must remain in the position and not take part in any play until the ball has been released. The umpire should refrain from blowing the whistle for an infringement when by doing so the non-infringing team would be disadvantaged. The umpire indicates an advantage as being applied by calling advantage and stating the infringement, using the hand signal for advantage. If the whistle is blown for the infringement, the sanction must be awarded, except for that if the goal is scored that is to the advantage of a non-infringing team, the umpire will award the goal. Players start at the beginning of each quarter and after each goal by a centre pass. The centre pass is taken alternately by the centre of each team. If at a centre pass the ball is still in the centre's hands and no player from that team has been penalised before the whistle was blown to end the quarter, the centre pass will be ruled not to have been taken. The centre in possession of the ball stands with at least 1 foot wholly within the centre circle. The opposing centre is in the centre third and free to move. All other players are in their respective goal thirds and are free to move but must not enter the centre third until the whistle is blown to start play. The ball is out of court when it touches the ground outside the court. It touches any person or object in contact with the ground outside the court. The ball is put out of court by a player who catches the ball in the air just before landing with the ball either wholly or partly outside the court. They catch or touch the ball while standing on the ground partly inside and partly outside the court. If the ball is caught simultaneously by two opposing players, either of who lands or is standing wholly or partly outside the court, a toss-up is taken on the court between the players concerned. A ball is not out of court if it hits any part of the goalpost and rebounds into the court. When the ball is ruled to be out of court, play restarts with a throw-in. The player taking the throw-in stands outside the court with at least 1 foot 15 centimetres of the line at the point indicated by the umpire. They ensure all other players are on court before releasing the ball. They throw the ball within 3 seconds of taking up the position. They may not enter the court until the ball has been released. They may not step behind any offside area while holding the ball. The player taking the throw must throw the ball from the goal line into the goal third, from the sideline into the nearest or adjacent third. If the ball from a throw-in goes out of court without being touched, a throw-in is taken by the opposing team when the ball went out. If the ball from a throw-in fails to enter the court, a throw-in is taken by the opposing team from the same position. Both teams have the right to make substitutions or team changes during an interval, when players stop for injury, or when the number of substitutions is not limited, provided the players used are those named for the match. The umpires will hold time for injury or illness upon appeal from an on-court player or for blood, and may hold time for an emergency such as any other circumstances as they consider appropriate. During a stoppage for injury or illness of the player for blood, all players not affected may remain on the court. In an emergency or other circumstances, the umpires decide whether the players leave the court or not. Play restarts from where the ball was when play was stopped. If the ball was out of court, play restarts with a throw-in. If an infringement was signalled before the play was held play. Play restarts with the sanction awarded. If the ball was on the ground or the umpire is unable to say which team had possession of the ball, play restarts with a toss-up between any two opposing players allowed in the area. In extreme circumstances and in consultation with the event organiser, the umpires may decide to abandon the match if the safety of players is considered to be at risk. The player is offside when the player enters a court area not designated for that player's position. This applies whether the player has contact with the ball or not. A player may reach across and pick the ball up from an offside area or lean on the ball in an offside area, provided the player makes no physical contact with the ground in that area. Opposing players offside. If two opposing players enter an offside area, one before the other, the first player is penalised. If two opposing players enter an offside area simultaneously, if neither makes contact with the ball, they are not penalised and play continues. If either player catches or touches the ball while standing in the offside area or immediately before or after landing in the offside area, a toss-up is taken between the two players in their own area of play. A goal is scored when the ball is thrown or batted above and completely through the ring by a goal shooter or goal attack from any point within the goal circle, including the lines bounding the goal circle. If the whistle to end play or hold time is blown before the ball is passed completely through the ring, no goal is scored. If a player other than the goal shooter or goal attack throws or bats the ball through the ring, no goal is scored and play continues. If a defending player deflects a shot for a goal and the ball passes above and completely through the ring, the goal is scored. If the ball is won at a toss-up in the goal circle, the goal shooter or goal attack may either shoot for goal or pass. In taking a shot at goal, the player must have no contact with the ground outside the goal circle, either while catching or holding the ball. The player may lean on the ball in the goal third outside the goal circle or may roll the ball or pick it up from this area, provided the player makes no physical contact with the ground outside the goal circle. They must shoot within 3 seconds of catching the ball. The umpires may caution a player. A player is advised that the behaviour specified must change. They may issue an official warning to a player, so the player is warned that the suspension will follow if the behaviour specified continues. They may suspend the player. A player who is suspended takes no part in play for 2 minutes. They may order a player off. A player who is ordered off takes no further part in the match. A decision to give an official warning to suspend a player or order a player off will be considered to have been made jointly by the two umpires. The officials advised a player an official warning by using the term official warning. They may specify the behaviour for which the official warning is being given. They may signal to the official bench that the official warning has been given. They may also state any action that will follow if the behaviour does not change. Foul play is anything a player does within the field of play that is not contrary to the letter and spirit of the rules of the game or does not meet accepted standards of good sportsmanship. It includes unfair play, dangerous play and misconduct. Unfair play. A player must not play unfairly. This includes delaying play, intentional infringing, persistent infringing, intimidation or retaliation. Players must also not take any action, either deliberate or accidental, that could affect the safety of another player. Such actions may include punching, kicking or striking a player with any part of the body, tripping or pushing a player, causing a player in the air to fall by moving into the path of that player. They can also be given warnings or can be sanctioned for dissent with an umpire. So a player may not dispute a ruling given by an umpire. They cannot question it with offensive, insulting or abusive language or make gestures to an umpire. If an umpire's call is not clearly heard, a player may ask the umpire to repeat the infringement penalised or seek clarification of whether sanction is to be taken. A player who has been suspended in a match must not continue to infringe the rules, otherwise the player is ordered off. So in my first situation, the goal shooter was deemed to have stepped out of the field of play before taking a shot. This meant that a free pass was awarded to the opposing team, when really she didn't even step out of the field of play, so she should have been allowed to carry on playing and shoot for goal. The umpires got this decision wrong, as if she would have stepped out of the field of play, then it would have been the correct decision, but as she didn't, they stopped her from having the chance to score a goal for her team. In the second clip, the wing defence appears to step into the wrong area, so she is therefore offside. The umpires see this and blow their whistle and give the signal that she has been offside, and the opposing team are allowed a free pass from where the infringement occurred. So this was a good decision. In my final situation, the goal shooter was about to attempt to score a goal, but she was impeded by the goalkeeper from the opposite team. Just as she was about to shoot, the goalkeeper made contact with her, so a free shot was awarded, and the goalkeeper had to move out of the way to let the goal shooter attempt to shot a goal. So this was another good decision by the umpires.